Okay, good evening, folks. Thank you for joining us online. We have a person here live as well, and we'll take questions as we go through the presentation. But first, let me introduce myself. My name is Marcy McFadden. I'm with the Career Services Group at Sollers. Sollers College is an educational institute that offers a number of programs, including degree programs and graduate certificates. A little later, I'm going to introduce you to Dr. Praveen. On video, you can see him sitting at the back of the room. He'll talk a little bit about the programs, what they offer, and probably a lot about what's covered in our internship. That's a 20-week internship program. But I'm here to start off just to welcome you, to tell you a little bit about clinical trial management and what we do within the Career Services Group, really to offer as much job readiness as possible. When we take people through our clinical trial management and advanced clinical research programs, the entire idea behind the programs is to make you as successful in your career as possible. So we want you to be job ready. Should I just hit page down? You'll see I need technical assistance. So as long as I do that, right? Okay, so this is, so this starts off a little differently. So before I actually scroll down into the presentation, let me say a couple of things. One is that in career services, we really exist to make you successful in your career. So we will not guarantee a job. There's none of the guarantees coming out of the program, but we want to make you completely job ready, and we're there for you every step of the way coming out of the internship and out of the curriculum to really ready you for both your job search in general, but then very importantly, all of the interviewing and understanding how to manage your job search strategy. So I wanted to share, just from the outset, a couple of different success stories that are all pretty recent. The first one is Malvika Kumar. She came out of our program earlier this year, completed it in May, and walked right into a clinical research coordinator role. That's a site position, so it's at the Advanced Heart Care facility, which is a private practice, where she's helping manage clinical trials at that site. You can read a little bit about her background as well. Should be coming up next. And I'm going to share like 3 or 4 of these stories so you get a sense of the kinds of backgrounds folks have who come into our program. Farida Abani came to us as an MD from Algeria. She had worked in drug safety, which is a different life science area, but she really wanted to get into clinical trial management. She moved to the U.S. having no work experience here, completed a program with us. That should say September 2017, not 2018. And then she was pretty quickly hired by a foundation, a cardiovascular research foundation, into a safety review role. So that's another great success story with someone with a slightly different background. Owen Solomon, he had worked actually in the U.S. after he completed a medical degree in Saudi Arabia, and he had completely different roles in the U.S. 4 years in basically customer service in hotel and residential. Then he landed a job in customer service role as a patient advocate with a big CRO. That's a contract research organization called LabCorp. The parent company is Covance. He was in that job for 2 years, and he realized he really wanted to move into clinical research, but didn't really have the background to do it. So he came to us for our advanced clinical research program, got the skills he needed, and then within his same company at Covance, he moved into a clinical research associate role. So that's a case of somebody who has a job with a big CRO, but needs to upskill in order to get to the next level in his career. Cyber is a great story, a guy who was very much into preclinical research. He was a PhD in biomedical engineering, again, had a real passion for clinical trial management, and completed our program and ended up in a CRA role in the Ethicon division of J&J. And that, again, happened pretty rapidly for him. He had a very strong background. And then the last example I'm going to share is Renuka Wakata. She came to us, again, someone with no work experience in the U.S., had been a master's degree recipient in India. Obviously, in a life science, she was well-versed in microbiology, but no work experience here. She enrolled in the clinical trial management program and got hired as a coordinator. And you'll hear a little bit about the different roles, but a clinical coordinator is an on-site clinical research role by a company called Science 37. And this just happened earlier this year. So these are all relatively recent graduates of our program. And different backgrounds, different experiences, but hopefully the message to folks out there listening and to those in the room is that you can have a variety of backgrounds and have success in clinical research. I said earlier that our #1 priority in career services is to make you job ready, to really get you out there to find employment. And we do that in a variety of ways. The first thing we do is we offer 3 group sessions to every cohort. So no matter when you start with us, and it doesn't matter which program, advanced clinical research, clinical trial management, you'll be offered 3 different sessions that include everything from what's the prospect in the job market, how do you write a good resume, how do you think about positioning your resume on social media, how do you, what's your job search strategy, what kinds of different online resources do you use. Really important today to have a good LinkedIn profile and strategy. We not only talk about basic interviewing skills, but we do a lot of interviewing practice, including mock interviews. And then besides the group sessions, and those are all offered in the nighttime. A lot of people in our programs are working professionals, so they're 6 to 8 o'clock in the evening. In addition to that, we offer individual career counseling on an as-need basis. So if you're someone who needs extra work on your resume, or you want to meet one-on-one to talk about your job search strategy, you need extra help on your LinkedIn profile, whatever the issues are, we offer additional individual counseling. That can be done on-site, face-to-face. We can do it over the phone. We can do it by Skype. So whatever works best for you. And hopefully what you'll hear over and over again is what's best for the student. The way that we bring you curriculum and internship is basically what works best for you. It's both on-site and online, and that's true of all career counseling. And we try to work around the hours that work for you as well, which is why all the group sessions are in the evening. We have a pretty big toolkit in terms of the resources and different tools we can provide you with help in your job search. It includes everything from lists of recruiter contacts to sample resumes and resume templates. We have some online resources that are proprietary. We have a license for that we share with students. When you graduate our program and you're in your job search, we provide employment references, particularly for people in the internship, because that's a simulated job environment. Those references are really important when you go out there in the job market. And then a really important thing that we do in career services is we work with a variety of industry partners. Some are recruiters, some are companies, some are clinical organizations, and we're developing paths to employment so that you as graduates of scholars will have better job prospects. Sometimes it means you get to jump the line on a job where other people have to submit resumes through a portal. Sometimes it means that companies are actively looking for our graduates for specific positions. But any way that we can help kind of smooth the path to employment, we do that. And in the case where we can find you direct job opportunities or internships, you'll always have knowledge and access to those. Okay, so that's what we do from career services perspective to the students, but it's also important for you all, at the end of my, for you all to understand kind of what it takes to be successful in this job market. It is a very robust job market, and there are a lot of opportunities in clinical research, but you have to do a couple things as a candidate. Once you get your certificate or your degree, you really have to own your job search. Nobody's going to go out there and take your resume to an employer and get the job for you. So you have to be very proactive in your job search. You also have to be tech savvy. And I'm this up front because in most industries today, but definitely in clinical research, at a bare minimum, you have to be proficient in Microsoft Office. You have to be able to use Word and Excel at a proficiency level. And you'll be asked this in interviews. They look for it on resumes. And the last thing I'll mention is that all the examples of the alumni that I shared with you who've been successfully employed, those are all people who took advantage of the resources here through career services, through our faculty, through the program. So the more active you are in your job search, the more you take advantage of what we have to offer, the more successful you'll be, the quicker you'll find a job. It doesn't always come easily. Sometimes you have to put in a lot of applications and go on a lot of interviews, but there are great opportunities out there for people who are really ready to take ownership of your career. The last thing I'll say before introducing Dr. Praveen is that the internship program here, and not everybody's going to want to be part of the internship program, but it's unlike anything else in the industry, and it does give you a great advantage in the job market. With that, I'm going to introduce Dr. Praveen. He's our head faculty in clinical trial management, and he's going to take you through a few other components.
Thanks, Marcy.
Absolutely.
Are you guys able to hear me? Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Praveen Barala, and I'm a Director of Clinical Operations at J&J. I manage a early development oncology portfolio. I'm MD internal medicine by training, but I did my MBA in healthcare management and international business double major. So practiced for 2 years, and then I realized that my heart is in operations, especially in the clinical research side. So I joined operations and worked for Pfizer, Parexel International, and recently to Janssen. While managing the projects, I also realized that you need to have project management skills to work in a matrix environment, working with different cross-functional team members, with different diversified folks with different educational levels, competencies, and skill sets. So I went and did my project management. Then when you're working at the senior leadership level, in addition to managing the projects, you need to also understand the processes by itself. So I realized that you need to also see how you can do things differently, like innovation. Right? Innovation is nothing, you don't need to reinvent the wheel all the time. Innovation is something that you can think about it in a different way, thinking out of the box, differently doing something, for deriving some efficiencies. So that's what we call process optimization. So I thought I need to do that, and I went back to do Lean Six Sigma. So currently managing project leaders. So at Solars, I give my consulting services as a subject matter expert. Pretty much at Solars, I manage the internship, mostly hands-on. For every batch, I will take the first initial 4 to 5 weeks to kind of understand the processes, regulations, important chapters you need for the clinical internship, and then kind of gradually lean towards the next 20 weeks for clinical internship, training you on different kind of enterprise level systems like clinical trial management system, electronic data capture, EDC, trial master file, which, these are all the softwares, and I'm going to show you momentarily after that just a snapshot of how our softwares look like and what are the different components you'll be trained on. Okay. So initially we started the program, all of the time there was $1 million question about, a lot of times we don't have an experience, what's the deal? Yeah. So everyone asks me the same question, so I always, during orientation, I bring it the very first time, just an FYI, I am a silver medalist top 2 in United States Clinical Researcher of the Year Award.
Oh.
So was top 8 in 2013. Then for the past 3 years I've been the finalist, and then last year I was silver medalist. So if you go to pharmatimes.com, you can see my profile.
Oh, okay.
And last time when I was in the executive steering committee meeting in the ACRP, this is the $1 million question. Industry is asking like 2 years of experience, but most of them doesn't have it. What's the deal?
Yeah.
So the hot debate was like, do you want to go with a candidate who has 2 years of experience in the big pharma, but technically didn't do anything? Because big pharma has so many layers, they divide those job descriptions. Or you want to go with someone who has like a highest education, competence, and skill set. The only thing that they don't have is an on-site experience.
Yeah.
So earlier, like three years back, if someone asked me the same question, I say like experience counts. You have to go with experience. Period.
Every job,
Yeah.
every job, they need experience.
But now the whole industry is facing a lot of turnover, almost like 19.6% turnover. And 19.6% turnover is a pretty humongous for any pharma industry, right? Why? Why there is a turnover? Because there's so many job offers. So the moment people realize that you have an experience, you won't be sitting idle. Big pharmas come, CROs comes and take you for X amount of dollars, more than what you're being offered now, and then sign-on bonus and relocation expenses, you name it. Because that's what experience is for, right? So why we are facing turnover? There's just so much demand and there's not enough supply. It's because of job hopping. So if you see in any job description, people always say that we need 5 years of experience with bachelor's. Immediately the line before you see like 3 years of experience with master's, or 2 years with a postdoc, a PhD, a postdoc. You see why they are reducing the number of years of experience for education? Because education can be compensated for experience. If given a chance, but no one, there's no question. If I have 2 resumes, one with an experience, one doesn't, obviously my choice is experience. But right now things are different. Why? Because we don't have enough candidates with that experience to fit that role. So the recruiters are forced to deal with the resumes they have. One without an experience. Now, if I have a resumes without an experience, what's my options here? Within those experiences who doesn't have, the resumes with no experience, my option is to look for the person who has highest qualification. Because I know that if there is a PhD, means or an MD, or whichever it may be, I know that they have been well educated. They reach the top level. With proper onboarding training, I know that I can get them fully onboarded within like 3 or 4 months. Because anyway, for any pharma, if a new employee comes in, the proper onboarding takes almost like 5 to 6 months. You always have the buffer saying I'm a new employee, right? 6 months, on an average it takes solid 6 months for a proper onboarding. So I am investing time, effort, resources, money for 6 months, thinking that within 6 months you might get a new offer, and you might leave me. But that's not the way industry works. According to GCP, any person who comes into the pharma industry has to be trained to the core with regards to education, their competency, their skill set. Then you will be trained on GCP requirements. You will be trained on corporate requirements. Then they will be assigned on the projects where you will be trained on protocol-specific trainings. Then they will assign a buddy program. Then you go and shadow them. That's when you get your independent monitorings or independent projects. So it doesn't matter if you are a 10 years experienced person or a rookie. I have to go through the same company's process. Now, at the end of the day, it's business. If HR is presented with these resumes, and if I know that there is a PhD candidate or an MD candidate or master's, but they don't have an experience, but I know that with proper training and onboarding, I can get them fully onboarded and get my job done. And guess what? How much salary I'm going to offer them, right? So always, experienced person doesn't go with less salary. So it's all about business, demand and supply. I am investing the same amount of resources, company's resources, money and equipment, you name it. But end of the day, it's lean, cost cutting. How I can get my job done with least amount of overhead. And my options are, If I don't have an experience, then I will look for the persons who have highest education so that I can give them, I'm not saying minimum salary, but a competitive salary compared to like 10 years of experience where I have to make a fortunate offer.
Yes.
But guess what? End of the day, my job is getting done. So that's where the whole industry is leaning towards now. So you see, I mean, you don't need to believe me or anything. This industry is about research, right? We are all grown-up adults. We are all like highly educated people. Just type in Google clinical research associates or clinical research coordinators, clinical operations leaders, clinical project leaders. You will see thousands of jobs. You see it, Google, right? Anyone can go and search, right? Why they are? There's so many requirements. This is the only industry, at least in operations, that there's so many lucrative career opportunities. Preclinical, sometimes it gets outsourced because of changing regulatory framework, cost cutting, outsourcing model. You see, like preclinical scientists has been laid off after X amount of years of experience with big pharmas. They've been outsourced. Animal testing are done somewhere else. But clinical always involves human subjects. Someone has to do clinical trials in the country where you are, at least pursuing your market approval. Either it's in the United States or European Union or Asia Pac, but someone should be local there. The person who has to manage those clinical trials has to be there. Even though it can be decentralized, but you should be working, right? So it's not like outsourced somewhere else. Data manager can be outsourced. Preclinical can be outsourced. Other aspects of the clinical trials can be outsourced, but operations cannot be, because someone has to manage them. So that's where you have so many career opportunities, either within the pharma, or if it had been really outsourced to a CRO, you have more career opportunities at the CRO. So that's where I always say, so check with your family, friends, kith and kin. Show me a person who has a clinical operations experience, minimum of 2 or 3 years, without a job. You search. Talk to your friends, talk to your colleagues, talk to your kith and kin, talk to your family. When I say clinical operations loads, includes clinical research coordinators, clinical research associates, local trial managers, clinical operations leaders, project leaders. Show me someone who has 2 or 3 years of genuine experience, either with a CRO or a pharma, sitting on the bench without a job. You can't find them. Simply, you cannot find them. The reason behind? 19.6% turnover. If someone has the 2 or 3 years of experience, they have been absorbed by a big shark. And everyone knows the salaries and costs and everything. Like, it's an open market. You can go to Glassdoor and see the average, and then you can see standard deviation from the mean, how you're earning. But it all comes with demand and supply. So bottom line, doesn't matter what kind of background you have, science, IT, business, finance, every person has a job in clinical trial management, clinical trials. It's always a misnomer that you need to have a science major to get into the industry. No. Momentarily, I will show you the clinical trial processes. Clinical trials is something, it's not a single-man show. It's a group effort. It's a cross-collaborative team effort. People from different cross-functionalities, people from different disciplines has to work cumulatively to make this happen. This is what the industry is about. Someone developed a drug in R&D or discovery. Someone has to test these drugs for safety, efficacy, and commercial viability, and then you submit an application for market approval. It cannot be run by a single department or a single person. A lot of people with different competence and skill set has to chime in and then work in collaboration to make this happen. Someone can be data management, someone can be biostatistician, someone can be from clinician, someone can be a pharmacologist, someone can be a finance guy, someone can be from contracts group. You see, like, just now I mentioned like 8 careers here.
Yeah.
So it's a misnomer that you don't need to have a science major to get a job in the clinical research industry. Clinical research is just like a business domain, just like finance, IT. It's just a business. And within the business, the best way to climb up the ladder is clinical operations, because that's the mainframe of business. And there is no cutting corners. I'm not saying like you can get it easy. It's not that easy. You need to work hard, but you derive more value proposition for your hard work. That's what I see. I don't mind working hard, but I need to see my prospects. What kind of value I get from that hard work. And that you can see in clinical operations. Why? Because this is the mainframe of business. Someone needs to know how to run the show. Someone needs to know how to conduct the clinical trials. Someone needs to know how to set up the hospitals, how to set up the patients, how to capture the data, how to analyze the data, how to move a lot of moving puzzles. And that's where clinical operations comes into picture. So that's why I always say, do your own research. See what jobs you have and see how your profile fits in. Because a person with 25 years of experience as a preclinical scientist, I can't ask them to go as a coordinator. They already have 25 years. But what we teach at Solars is a common regulatory platform which equips all the professionals with different backgrounds to get into the clinical trial industry. Then based on your background, based on your experience, based on your prior work, you see where you belong. So for example, a person with 25 years of experience with a big pharma, even though worked in the preclinical side, they supported clinical trials in a dotted line somewhere. Now after taking Solars, you saw some success stories. Once you take the program will train you for all jobs. End of the day, by your experience, you can see where you belong. Now, one lady was 28 years of experience, already eligible for pension, blah, 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 but she never thought even to update her resume. She never had 28 years. Come on, I never imagined myself working that long, right? But all of a sudden, they have to outsource their preclinical setup and then now back to square one. Took the course at Solars, directly joined as a manager of the CRAs. Even though she doesn't have an on-site monitoring experience, but because of her prior experience with the pharma, they figured out she already knows the business. Now she already have an operations experience with an internship from Solars, so she filled that gap. And then because of her big name, big pharma added to that name for 28 years, it's not a job. Now you have an operations experience, why she cannot be a manager to manage people at the CRA level? And the other ones you already saw, that they went as a clinical research coordinators and then they made their way up. So that's how clinical operations work. So people always say, don't ever listen to people. A lot of people will say free ideas. Listen to them, take the good. But again, if someone asks you, you don't have an experience, what's your options? What you going to do about it? Nothing. At this point, can you do anything about your experience? You don't have an experience. What's next? It is something which is way beyond your control at the current moment. Do you guys agree?
Yeah.
Right? But interviewers are not worried about that. They know that you don't have an experience, but what they are looking after is what's next? Or what you're going to do about it, or what did you do about it?
And then you gain your experience.
I don't have an experience, however, I have a better education, highly qualified competency and skill set. The only thing that I don't have an experience, for that reason, I did the right thing. What is that? Going back to school. Got my certification. It's not a regular certification, it is a graduate certificate program from a federally accredited institution which contains 12 continuing credits. If I say 12 continuing credits, that can be transferable to any university provided if that university accepts, just like any other university programs. So now you did the right thing, that you want to go back to school, get your graduate certificate program done, but you're not done there yet. Everyone can do the certificate, everyone can do the theory, but still that experience is always lagging behind, right? That's when you say that to fill that gap, I did a 20 weeks of internship with a hands-on training, with using the same enterprise level softwares which the industry is using, with the same kind of case studies where most of the clinical research associates face in the industry. We have been trained on that. So I have a graduate certificate program which has 12 continuing credits, and I have a 6 months of hands-on experience internship using the same enterprise level softwares. And then I have my prior experience with another cross-functionality with another company. Now you tell me why I am not an eligible candidate for this job. Isn't that the nice way to present, right? You're the CEO of your own career. You need to market yourself. But in order for you to market yourself, you need to have some kind of contingencies. You need to have some kind of value propositions. That's what we are giving in. That's what Solars comes into picture. No one promises you a job, but we give you every resource, every tool, every one-on-one support to make you success. Is it clear? And my job here comes in to give you that, my experience, PowerPoints. If I give PowerPoints, anyone can see PowerPoint. You don't need me to teach PowerPoints, right? We're all adults, we know that. But my value comes into picture to align those PowerPoints to the industry standards.
Oh, okay.
Software, and also cases. Like if you see a topic, then we go back and see like what we learned from our prior experiences, what I faced in my, and that's how it works. Aligning those to the industry standards. All my classes, we have a case study. We meet on Mondays and Tuesdays from 6 to 9. Internship will be from Wednesday and Thursday, 6 to 9. Each and every class, we have a case study. Instead of asking an interview questions, we kind of combine them into a case study, and I give an opportunity for everyone to organize your thoughts for 5-10 minutes, and then I want everyone to speak for 4 to 5 minutes. My intention is not to put you on the hot spot, but to open up and share your, views. That's what typically we call brainstorming, right? In any corporate, you see the table here. This is how pretty much the conference setup will be. People from different positions will come, strategize, discuss about the topic, bring their opinions, and finally make a decision, endorse that during the meeting minutes. The same corporate culture we're going to follow here. I'm going to give the case study, give you an opportunity to organize your thoughts, and then speak up for 4 to 5 minutes. So that tomorrow if you face a similar question in an interview, it's a no-brainer. Yeah. It's not a surprise anymore, because you also have 10 more responses from your colleagues. Mm-hmm. There's no right or wrong answer, but there's the best way to present something to capture the 2 to 3 minutes of your interviewer's attention. That's where our case studies comes into picture. You have your own value, your response. Your colleagues will say some response. You're going to combine them. And then tomorrow, if a similar question comes in, you can start conversation. At least you can start a meaningful dialogue. So that's where nowadays interviews are. No one puts you in the hot spot and asks you like yes or wrong questions. In fact, most of the persons who are working at any higher level doesn't know a lot of technical stuff, like question and answers. Why? Because when you work in the projects, you sometimes carried away that you don't know what's happening around you. Now it's a career, institution, we're going to keep up with ever-changing regulatory platforms, but when you work in the projects, you're so overwhelmed with your projects, you don't know what's happening. And if you ask those questions to the guy, you say, I don't know. Right? Yeah. So none of the interviews are like yes or no or right or wrong. It's always a dialogue. It's always a conversation. Tell me an incident, or tell me, or have you ever been? You see, that's how the questions start. Mm-hmm. Giving you an opportunity to open up a meaningful dialogue. Then based on the flow, they will go to the next level. So if I start a conversation within 2 to 3 minutes, I will know for sure that am I speaking to the correct person, or am I simply wasting my time? Yeah. People always say, it takes 2 to 3 minutes to give you a job. That's absolutely true. The reason behind is it's simple. When you want to talk to someone, right, you know whether the person is, pleasant to talk or obnoxious. Mm-hmm. Forget about interview, just as a human nature. Yeah. When you start talking within 2 minutes, you say, I don't want to talk to them, right? Why? You know that, but behavior. Yeah. It's a similar thing for an interview. When you start a conversation, even though you don't see face to face, the way you sound, tone, quality, attitude, maneuver, you name it, it makes a lot of difference. All together builds up your personality. And tomorrow I have to see you every day. Even you may be a highly qualified person, but you have that obnoxious tendency, there is no way in the world I'm going to give you a job, period. That's how the corporate works, because you need to have that chemistry on a professional level. Yeah. So it's not only the experience, but it's also about the personality. Team player. Oh, yes, that's important. I know everything. I want to be a single man. It doesn't work like that. To be a team player. Okay, I want to be a team player, but I want to ask so many questions. It doesn't work that way either. You need to be qualified. You need to be a team player, but you need to be able to work under minimal supervision. I cannot spoon feed you. Right? So that's how the tendencies work. And that's where we come as an institution, as a federal accredited institution, as a professional institution, to give you all the resources help you in the career sessions, help you with boot camps, help you in preparing for the interviews, but no one promises you a job. So I'm just, and as a subject matter expert, I will take you through each and every component of the internship. How to conduct the visits, how to enter the sites, how to use the trial master file, how to capture data, how to enter the data, how to review the data, how to raise the queries, how to resolve the queries. Everything you're going to do in the hospital or in a sponsor, we're going to train you at Solars. At this point, I'm going to just pause for a second to give you an opportunity to ask any questions before I go into further details. Any questions? You can ask any questions. I'm not here to sell any program. I am here as a subject matter expert. So please ask any questions you might have regarding anything. Is it federally accredited? Yes, it is. That's where your certificate says graduate certificate program. So you get two certificates. One is certificate of completion. The second one is the internship completion certificate.
So internship starts on the
fifth week onwards.
The fifth week. Okay.
First 4 weeks is the theory sessions to make you understand the processes, because you can't straight away use the system. You need to know what you need to do with the system.
Yeah.
That's where the 4 to 5 weeks comes into picture. Making you understand the concepts, regulatory frameworks, monitorings, contracts, budgets. Is it better to look for jobs for CRO or a pharma? Good question. Anything with the price or financing or price for the program, please contact Chetna. So, is it better to look for jobs at CRO or sponsors? If given a chance at this time, I'll take anything that comes in the pipeline, right? Do you guys agree?
Yeah.
At this point, if someone offers me a job, doesn't matter if sponsor or CRO, I will take it.
And the reason taking it now is good because you're gaining experience as you go along.
Right now, we don't have.
Yes. That's what we need.
All we are here because either we don't have a job or we have a job which we are not satisfied. We want to go into something which we think that we actually belong. Yes. Am I correct? So that's the first question. However, if given a chance, meaning if I would win an opportunity, whether to select a sponsor or CRO, that's a different situation. That you got two offers, now you want to decide wherever you want to go. In that case, you have to see the pros and cons, risks and benefits. Sponsor companies, they are loaded because they are the ones who sell the drugs, makes profits out of it. So the salary for the sponsors is higher. However, the sponsors are really busy with R&D, discovery, and submissions and making money, sales and post-sales. But the middle part is missing. What is that? Clinical trials. You developed a drug and you want to sell it, but you can't do directly, right? You want to make sure whether your drug is safe, effective, either the best in the market or equivalent to the industry standard. That's where we do the clinical trials to prove your hypothesis, to make sure that your drug is safe, your drug is efficacious, and either the best in the market or equivalent to the industry standard and commercially viable. You gather all the data and then submit an application to the FDA or health authorities in different countries for a market approval. That's the process. So someone has to do the middle show, that is conducting the clinical trials. Sponsor sometimes thinks that it is too burdensome or it is not too cost effective for them to run the clinical trials themselves. That's when they say, I'm good with developing the drug, I'm good with making money after sale. So I'm going to outsource this middle part to someone else. That's where CROs comes into picture. Contract Research Organizations. Now, contract research organization, the name itself says, unfortunately, this industry has too many acronyms, but you have to deal with it. But the best way to do an acronym or approach an acronym is backwards. At least you will end up with a tentative meaning of that acronym. I don't know what a CRO is which stands for Contract Research Organization. Approach backwards. It's an organization that does research and it operates under contract.
Okay.
So the sponsors, they think that conducting the clinical trials is not commercially viable from them, from their business point of view. It's not cost effective for them to hire all these employees to conduct a clinical trial. They think it's better to outsource it to a professional organization whose job is to conduct clinical trials. That's where the contract research organizations with humongous database, so many resources, state-of-the-art systems to conduct these clinical trials comes into picture.
And just for a period of time.
So God forbid you have been hired into a sponsor company and then they want to outsource your whole trials. You're getting paid good, but one fine day you will see yourself laid off because that particular trial has been outsourced to a CRO.
So CRO is better to...
Again, decision is up. I'm just giving you the process.
Yeah.
Salary is high at sponsor, risk is there.
Yeah. It has
CRO.
advantages and disadvantages.
CROs work with the sponsor. They have to get the contract from the sponsor and they work. That's the reason they hire CRAs, they hire the operations leaders, project leaders, right? In that case, what they do? They hire people. They want to make money because they got the contract, but they wanted to conduct the clinical trials and they want to make profit. So the salary for CRO is less. I'm not talking about huge difference, but comparatively, it will be less with the sponsor. However, you have lucrative career opportunities at the CRO. You don't have so many layers at the CRO to go up the ladder. God forbid, and if the CRO is not performing well and the sponsors are not giving them the contracts they are giving to their competitors, then again you will see yourself laid off. So risk is there everywhere. So you need to see the risk and the reward. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Oh.
So, I don't necessarily need to have a scientific background to be eligible for the program. Absolutely correct, yes. People with different cross-functional backgrounds will have a job in clinical trials. For example, a project manager doesn't need to have, they need to understand the business. And they apply the project management principles to run the project. If you are a project manager, they think that, do you have a finance background to work in a bank? Most probably yes, but if you don't have it, they will train you. You need to understand the business. For a data management, they are really good in programming. Do they need to have a science background? No, they have an IT background, but they need to understand the clinical trial processes. Then they know how to capture this information, how to program those case report forms. People with legal background, do they need to have scientific knowledge? No, they are attorneys, right? But they need to understand the business to draft the contracts and to do the budgeting. People with finance, do you think they have science background? No. They are from finance background. But they need to understand how the clinical trials work because they need to have the budgeting. They need to know the differences between standard of care, non-standard of care. So bottom line, in order for you to secure a job in clinical trial industry, you don't need to have a science background. If it is there, it's desirable. If it is, well and good. If it is not, it's not a roadblock. Can we continue internship at Solars for up to 6 to 12 months and until we get a job? Internship is for 6 months, but we don't, after you complete your certificate program, we don't just desert you saying like you don't belong here. No. We will extend the system access and everything until you feel comfortable and try to clear those interviews. Yes. Internship. Do you give online program? It is a mix. If you see, I'm sitting in class, my colleague is here, and then some other colleagues from New Jersey and nearby area will pop into the in-class. We have a nice Cisco board now, and then we are in the middle of Menlo Park Mall, like, very ambience environment here. However, we do have out-of-state students, so they attend this course online. For each and every class, you will have a WebEx session, and the student services will be sending you the WebEx logins. So if you want to choose to come in class, if you are based in New Jersey or nearby area, you're welcome to do so. If not, you can do completely online, even the internship. But I will be here in class every day in the evenings. So in the morning I work, I log off, and I come here. So I'm a living example to show you that, you can still manage, because most of the clinical operations jobs all are decentralized, meaning you work from home. So that being said, when tomorrow you apply for any jobs, don't restrict yourself to tri-state area or your particular state. Most of the clinical operations jobs are decentralized, meaning you work from home. Sometimes if there is a site nearby, then you go and visit the site or visit the company headquarters, but most of the times your home is your home office. Especially for the CRAs, you work from home completely and then you travel to the sites. And that gives you a better opportunity for a work-life balance when you work from home, right? So, not-for-profit CROs, is children not? No, children is for profit. I don't see not-for-profit CROs unless it is just a limited service CRO for only one or two competencies, but most of the major CROs like Paraxel International, Covance, Chiltern, Quintiles, PPD, Icon, PRA, these are all for profit. And there's so many career opportunities if you type into those CROs. As you know, sponsors means either pharma companies or biotechs like Bayer, Merck, AstraZeneca, Janssen, Pfizer, Merck, Bristol Myers Squibb. These are all the examples of sponsors. Any questions? Come on. So the bottom line is, do your own research, check what are the career opportunities you have, what kind of educational background you have, how Solars can come in handy to fill that gap, either with giving you the knowledge of the industry, knowledge of the regulations, knowledge of the hands-on systems, so that you can bridge that gap. Because always when you face the interview, they always ask you the question, okay, you don't have this on-site or monitoring experience, or you don't have a real-time experience, or you don't have experience, why I have to give you a job? At this point, you don't have an answer, even to that question. But at least when you have this course completed with an internship, at least you are in a much more better situation to answer that question, which might convince, because when a recruiter or someone is calling you, they already knew that you don't have an experience. Still, they decided to give you a call to see what else you have. Obviously, right? If I know that you don't have an experience, I don't want to even call you. But their calling means they don't have an option, meaning like they are really, their hands are tied with regards to experience, so they are dealing with the resumes they have to see what else they have, what other value propositions they have out of those resumes. So at least you will be in a better situation to answer those questions after. Yes, I don't have an experience. That's where I did the right thing to go back to school, to get a graduate certificate program for a federally accredited institution, and then to compensate the experience on-site, we did a 6 months of internship using the same enterprise-level softwares. But you don't need to even answer that question. By the time they ask this question, you already made a huge impact by the way you're answering questions in the initial 2 to 3 minutes. Because that internship, whenever you do a hands-on experience, your confidence level goes high. 1 or 2 questions when they ask, that moment you start the conversation, that makes a huge difference between a person who don't have an experience and you never had a hands-on experience versus a person who doesn't have an experience but at least they have a hands-on experience and went to a professional school. Because education is something that doesn't never go in vain. It always will be handy. And that always updates your resume. What else? Okay, I have 6 months gap, I have 1 year gap, I have 2 years gap. They are not bothered about that. They are bothered about it. What did you do about it? How you bridged that gap? How did you fill that gap? Yes, I am not sitting idle. I went and improved my proficiency in different industry things. I went in to attend so many seminars. I did my continuing CME credits, or I went to school and got my certificate, and then I did my hands-on internship. That's how I bridge or fill my gap. Now, if you give me an opportunity to work with an esteemed, company like you, I'm going to bring value proposition onto the table. Value in the form of my hard work, experience, expertise, education, competency, skill set. Overall, I'll bring value to the organization and to the position I've been offered and the company who I work for. That's how I close my sentence. Is it clear? So, as I said, people can give you free ideas and they will say, like, you don't have experience, don't believe in it. You're adults, do your own research, right? Everything is like open book, transparent, communications are transparent, a lot of collaborations out there, so many websites out there. Just type Clinical Research Associate in Google, you'll see hundreds of jobs. Type coordinator. So check it out, go inside, go into the job description and see what they're asking. Have I ever done in my past life? Or will Solars will be able to do that? That's how I relate. Right now I didn't have it. Probably the curriculum says I can. So I'm a suitable candidate for the job, at least apply. I'm going to quickly show you the softwares and then I'm going to hand over to my colleague Marcy is also here. If you have any questions regarding careers, please ask. So that being said, let me quickly show you the systems which we train our, I don't say students, we are all our colleagues. Please let me know if you're able to see my screen. So, if you see my screen, this is called as Clinical Conductor, and if you see this word, probably it's not what it says, enterprise. So this is enterprise level software, which will be used in industries. So normally people get training databases, but this is like we paid for enterprise level software. So Clinical Conductor is one of the CTMS system, Clinical Trial Management System. Acronym CTMS, Clinical Trial Management System. It's a system for management of clinical trials. Pretty much all components of the clinical trials can be managed through the system. So here, if you go to menu, we can add sites, meaning hospitals, add site staff, you can add IRBs, institutional review boards, you can add employees, you can add CROs, you can add vendors, you can add laboratories, you can add monitors of the CRAs, everything under resources. Then, in study execution and monitoring visit plan, we can conduct different type of visits. So we developed 4 studies here with different therapeutic areas. And we loaded 18 sites. So tomorrow if someone asks you, a lot of times the recruiters ask logistics. At any given point of time, how many studies you worked with? 4. How many sites you did? 18. What are the different therapeutic areas? We have 4 different therapeutic areas. Sleep disorders, cardiovascular system, endocrine. That can go in your resume because you did this as part of your internship. So if you see, there are different type of systems, SQV, site qualification visit, site initiation visit, 3 or 4 interim monitoring visits and close out. So we pretty much train you like a CRA how to properly conduct different visits using the CTMS system for different study and different hospitals. We used to generate the reports, finances, vendor management. So everything can be, for example, if I go to study execution and study dashboard, it gives you a portfolio level view of, because CTMS system is a system where everyone will get access based on their role. If you are a CRA, you will be given access at the site level. If you are an LTM or clinical trial manager, you will be given access at the country level. If you are a project manager or project leader, you will be given access at the study level. If you are a director, senior director, you will be given access at the portfolio level. If you are a VP, you will be given access at the enterprise level. If you are a CEO, you will be given access at like company level. But everyone uses the same system, but they see the view differently. Now, if you see a portfolio level, I know how many studies I have, and all the logistics are shown here. how many patients are there, what was the goal for each and every study, where we are, how many pre-screened, how many were screened, how many were screen failures, how many have been enrolled, how many have been treated, how many discontinued, how many completed, how many still are in follow-up. Everything will be in a dashboard. Then you can go individually into each study and then go all the way to the sites. So when I click on the study, it takes me to all the individual milestones for the sites. If I click on site engagements, it will tell me how many hospitals or sites I have which is in this study. I have like 7 pages of sites. So that's how it works. So we train you on risk-based monitoring training. Yes, we do. We do training on that. We help you in going through the dashboards, data analytical tools for risk-based monitoring, and then the workload. If you see the first one, even if I go to the clinical Conductor enterprise, you see the dashboard here. This is one of the risk-based tools. It will give you a snapshot about a deviation rate at a particular site. Based on the color coding, I know that my particular site is in red, means that mandates a site visit ASAP. How bad is the site with regards to regulatory compliance, with regards to inspection prone? That's what risk-based monitoring is. Monitoring based on risk. Risk can be issues, actions, data, right? Quality, compliance, GCP violations, you name it. So those are the tools we develop, and this is the clinical Conductor we're going to use for training in internship. So you'll be given access at the portfolio level, so you'll have access to all the 4 studies and all the sites. In fact, you create your own sites there. The next system we will be training you is Trial Master File. Master Control is our Trial Master File. Everyone knows this industry is about documentation. If you do not document, it never happen. FDA doesn't care how hard you worked or what you did. All they need is documents. And the best way to keep these documents is electronic. So Trial Master File is an electronic repository where sponsors will keep all their documents for regulatory compliance, for site management, country management, study management, and it also is part of submissions to an FDA or health authorities in different countries. So Trial Master File, it's not like simply uploading. There's a proper way of uploading all the documents. You can upload them, but you're dealing with 200,000 documents as part of NDA application. How are you going to juggle around 200,000 pages? The most important thing is when there's an inspection, you need to know how to retrieve the document. In order for you to retrieve the document, you need to follow proper naming conventions while uploading the document. That's where Trial Master Control comes into picture. We train you on the version controls, we train you on the naming conventions, and if you see there's the documents here, when you click on documents, it will clearly show you the Windows hierarchy, like how we want to do it. And it will have subsections. For example, if I have to upload a protocol, where it belongs, what document it belongs to, what subdocument it belongs to, and then when I click on it and continue, it will give me all the versions already here. It creates a document number, revision number, version number, all the logistics of it. All I need is upload the document and then go into the custom fields and then save it, so that tomorrow if you want to go, you can clearly say, is it a site level document or a sponsor level document, or it can be stored in both places. What protocol is it, what study is it? So it's called as attributes. Every document owner, their job is to do the first time quality check and upload into the Trial Master File using proper naming conventions. Trial Master File also can be used for review and approve. It's called workflow. I am an author of a document. You might be the reviewer and someone needs to approve it. I don't need to send individually. I can create a document, upload it into the Trial Master File, and start the workflow. I'm going to give privileges to you for approving. I'm going to privilege to her for review. Everything can be done within the Trial Master File. Why? Because it captures the audit trail. When it happened, how it happened, what second, minute, everything will be captured using Trial Master File. So week 13, 14, 15, we'll be training you on Master Control, which is our Trial Master File. We have videos. I'm going to explain, then I'm going to give you the week's work, and then you start doing that. And then, I don't think we have it here, but we're going to train you on EDC system, which you see in each and every job description, electronic data capture, Oracle. and then we're going to give you access as a coordinator to go and enter the data. Then you switch gears and you go as a CRA and verify the data, raise the queries as a CRA. Then you go back as a coordinator and resolve the queries. Then you go as a CRA and verify the case support forms. So tomorrow you can apply for a coordinator position or a CRA. You already know what to do and what system to use. So these are the systems. If you see job description across different countries, companies, you will see these systems. Names might be different, but they will ask, do you have experience with EDC? Do you have experience with CTMS system? Do you have experience with trial master file? What they are asking, you're already, not only are saying you are experienced, but you're doing that work using the systems, using the case studies. Now you tell me if you won't be in a better situation to answer technical questions, behavioral questions, situational questions. You'll be ready to answer any questions you can, because you gain that confidence by going through this internship using the enterprise level systems and the case studies. Is it clear? As I said again, I'm not here to sell any program or anything. I'm here as a subject matter expert. I gave you the tour. You do your own due diligence, see everything, see what opportunities you had before, what kind of value proposition you're going to get after this, and see, where you stand, and then, take a meaningful best judgment. But my colleague Marcy is also here. If you have any further questions regarding careers or any other things, please feel free to ask. We will be here for another five minutes to take any questions. But if it is up to, like any questions if you have with clinical, please shoot us an email, call us. But any kind of decisions you make, good luck. And my colleague Marcy is here to answer any career-related questions.
Is this your phone, Dr. Louise? Sure. Right, you guys can either ask questions over your microphone or feel free to type them into the chat. Right, okay, do you provide support and tips training to get CCRP certification?
ACRP, you don't need ACRP certificate. Our certificate is better than that. The reason behind it's a graduate certificate program which contains 12 continuing credits, which they don't have it. I'm not saying it's some people who take CCRA or CCRC from ACRP or SOCRA. Is it mandatory to get a job? No. I'm not ACRP certified. When you go to certain levels, certifications are just a thing. But even to get into the program, our certificate holds better than them. The reason behind it's a graduate certificate program with 12 continuing credits.
For those who don't know, ACRP and SOCRA are both associations for clinical research professionals. Other questions? We're here to answer if you have questions.
This is your chance. Again, as we said, we are here as a subject matter experts to give, orientation, alignment, whatever you say, but feel free to ask. Because we all have questions for sure, right?
Yeah, whatever question you have, somebody else has it too. They're just afraid to ask.
There is no silly questions or anything. Most of the times in my meetings, I always ask.
Yeah. So there are a lot of acronyms used in the program, and it is sometimes a lot. Someone says it would be helpful to know what the full
name is.
Yeah. So we will try to do that, but yeah, it's an industry that is absolutely full of acronyms. So we'll do our best to use the full language
in all
before
our
we use it.
Absolutely. In all our lectures, we have the full forms for all the acronyms. And we're going to give resources for all the acronyms up front where you can get a lot of acronyms which are used in the industry.
Yeah. Other questions, folks? When does the program start? So we start new cohorts of students on an ongoing basis. I don't have the exact dates of the next start date, but it would probably be Yeah, if you call admissions, they would be able to let you know. It's probably going to be September, towards late September. September 5th or 6th. They'll have the exact date if you call admissions. Same thing about the tuition fee. It varies based on program, and they'll be able to answer those questions if you call admissions. Classes are twice a week, is that correct?
Twice a week.
Right, three
classes in 1 weekend.
Okay, so classes are 3 times a week, twice at night, and 1 on the weekend. Yeah, admission says the 5th, so yeah, September 5th then is the start of the next group. Anyone else?
Hello.
Hello?
Yeah, on your website, I see that you also provide short-term clinical research courses, which is different to your clinical research graduate certificate. So what are these short-term courses in clinical research?
It's basically without the internship, right? It's all the curriculum and understanding of clinical trial management, but it does not include the internship.
Those who are mostly designed for already working professionals where they want to take the crash course to get the promotions or something's waiting up. They already have that experience, but they're going into different cross-functionality. That's where they take. So pretty much they say, we don't need internship because I used the systems before, but I need to understand this business side because I'm going from one cross-functionality to another cross-functionality.
Right. I'll give you a quick example. I shared in the beginning the profile of Un Salman, who had been working at Covance, which is a CRO, but he was in patient advocacy, which was essentially a customer service role, but he knew the company. He took the advanced clinical research, which was the short program, because he already understood the clinical research environment, and that allowed him to get into a clinical trial position. Can you take the training and internship completely online? Yes. And you can take all the career services training online. Everything we offer is available either in person or online.
So as you mentioned earlier, like we come in class and we take the session here, but just the way you are, attending online, that's how the whole program works.
Also, everything gets recorded, so those recordings are available to you the next day. So if you missed something, you were late to class, something wasn't clear, you can just play back the recording.
Even if you are within New Jersey and then you don't want to come every day, you want to come one day and then sometimes you're stuck in the traffic or kids, it's flex. You can come in class, you can completely do online, whichever works for you.
Yep.
Are the training sessions recorded? So for example, if I miss one class a week for some reasons, will I get an opportunity to click on the recorded session and, yeah?
Yes.
Each and every session is recorded. If you see, even this session is being recorded now. So if you miss one, or even if you don't miss, but you want to go back and reinforce your memory, just the way the lead time is 24 hours for the WebEx to post it. So just wait for 24 hours, then the video recordings are available in your LMS portal for you to view.
Right. And that's true of everything. These sessions, all of the classroom and internship sessions, all of career services sessions, everything's recorded and available to you the day after.
For example, I start this course and do my 20 weeks of internship, get familiarity with all the 4 therapeutic areas. But even after 6 months, I haven't found a job yet, and I want to continue your internship program. Will you again train on the same 4 therapeutic areas and same 4 studies, or will it be a bunch of new studies?
The internship is an ongoing thing. Like it's just we started with one study, we added second, third, and fourth, and then it's an ongoing initiative. Even when you start within the 20 weeks, probably we might add more sites and more studies. We always see where is the industry going towards, what recruiters are asking, what job description mean. That's why we always change it. It's not like a standalone thing. We always update based on the trend.
But also, if you are in a job search for 6 months and you need to come back and refresh yourself on the tools like Clinical Conductor, you would get ongoing access to that, as well as career services, as long as it takes you to find the job.
Most of the times if you see, and even my colleague here, we saw, probably your friend might have, he's in internship, right? And then he might have told all the success stories too.
Yeah.
Because internship, we have like 4 or 5 batches taking up, because every month we have a new batch. Within 3 to 4 weeks or 5 weeks, they start getting calls, and then based on the way you talk, that call goes to next level. And so, yeah.
Yeah.
And every time they see it, like, as Marcy also mentioned, people didn't have any experience. They came in, but it's not like, but I cannot question their commitment. They were following everything that's being told in the class.
Yes.
One was not even from the science major, but she came to the class, she took all the notes and recordings, and early morning from 5 to 8, she used to apply for tons and tons of jobs. That's her daily duty. And paid off. She got 2 offers. So there is no, like, cutting corners or anything. You need to do hard work, period. There's no alternative for hard work, but there's a smart way of doing it, and then see how you can add value to that. And that's what people did, and that our program also adds value to it.
And the more cases that you do, the more experience you gain.
And then again, you keep on applying. What's the last thing that's going to happen? You might not get a call. I'll take it. What if I get a call? I should not regret, like, maybe I should have applied for that. No. I'd rather think like I applied, but they didn't give me a call. At least I tried.
Right.
So that's how I see it.
Other questions? All right, and I'm going to wrap up. We all thank you for joining us. If you have questions about fees, etc., please call admissions. They'll fill you in. But Dr. Praveen, I think, answered a lot of your questions.
If you need, like, again, as I said, we are not here to sell the program, but if you think that if you want to talk one-on-one with me or anything to make up your decision, that might really affect or change someone's perspective, because a lot of folks wants to do that. Like, they are in that boat, like, it's a huge deal. It's not easy. Finances and family and a lot of moving dynamics are involved here, and I get that and I appreciate it. But if you think that a call might also clear up any of your ambiguities you have revolving around it, please work with admissions to arrange a call with me. I'm more than happy to talk to you on a one-on-one level.
We have 2 more questions. They want to know EDC system, iMetadata, Rave, or Data Labs?
EDC is Oracle RDC.
Oracle RDC, okay. And then someone wants to know statistically how many people got jobs in the time interval after their completion. So we don't have those stats readily available. What I can tell you is that in clinical trial management and drug safety as a whole, and those are our 2 tracks, we have around a 80% placement rate within 6 months. There are people who get hired before they even finish the program. There are people who, because they're not applying themselves or something comes up that throws them off of their job search path. Some people have had to take care of family emergencies. Some of those people don't find a job for a while, but they're not able to actively search. But for people who use all their resources, apply all of the tools that they've been taught, use all the career services, those people are getting hired at a pretty high rate.
We are a federally accredited institution. We are not a regular institution, and in fact, we have been approved for our master's and bachelor's program too. A lot of our curriculums are being taught in different universities in and around Tri-State. Being a federal accredited institution, we have certain placement rate to be in business. We are in the business for past 12 years. As Marcy mentioned, that's 80% is our markup rate, and we have to meet that goals to be in the market. Because for every you want to renew, you have to show your logistics for your renewal, your accreditation. So things speak for itself.
All right, thank you all for attending, and as Dr. Praveen said, if you have other questions, please let us know or let admissions know. Good night, folks.
Thank you.